Right, thank you for everyone attending today's seminar. My name's Stuart Wright. I look after all the Sika flat roofing technologies for new build. Obviously, my colleague today is Matt Haler, who looks after the same technologies but on a refurbishment side. So we're both here today. I'll be carrying out the main presentation, but myself and Matt will obviously answer any questions as we go. So if you could put all your questions in the chat area, and we'll try and answer those at the end in a Q&A session for you. I just want to confirm, obviously, can everyone see the presentation? Is that all good? Yep, brilliant. We'll go on. So basically what we'll go through today is an introduction to Sika's roofing technologies in terms of what we've got on offer in our range, in terms of what we can offer you as a customer, as an architect, as a designer. What we go through today is to learn the features and benefits of the Sika roofing technologies, to understand Sika roofing's quality management system, and hopefully help you in assisting in designing and choosing the most appropriate flat roofing system for the project that you're working on. You know, this will go through in terms of providing you a guaranteed performance, hopefully meet and exceed any expectations you have for that roof, and obviously the main thing is to reduce the risk for everyone in terms of the project you're working on and the roof system that you're putting in place. So just to give you a little bit about who we are, basically Sika have 4 different sites within the UK. We have our head office at Welwyn Garden City, as Trevor's already mentioned. We also have our R&D development site in Preston. Now, we also have offices in Leeds, and we have an office site in Dublin as well. So effectively 4 separate offices, and our main head office, as I said, is in Welwyn. Welwyn generally looks after the single ply element of our business, whereas Preston looks after our liquid and bituminous and hot melt systems. We actually opened our development site in 2014, so all our research and development is actually carried out there on all different types of products that we do. So going on to Sika Solutions, basically this is just to give you an overview of who Sika are. This is quite a good slide because this will actually go through the core areas that we offer different industries in terms of the products that we supply. So we offer across 8 target markets, which are roofing, waterproofing, concrete, flooring, sealing and bonding, refurbishment and industry. We can offer obviously CPDs within all these different ranges, but it's just to give you an idea of obviously that Sika isn't just a roofing brand. It is, you know, we look at projects from basement to roof. So we have got areas that we can actually go into that can give you information on different products in all these sort of core areas. So we can get involved very, very early stages within a project from maybe your basement side and then up to the roof. So going on to the roofing side of things, what we'll do today is our roofing division effectively consists of 4 different roofing brands. Between them, we have about 150 years of heritage. We have Sika Liquid Plastics, which consists of marketed leading liquid applied membranes. These are obviously manufactured in the UK and are synonymous with the liquid roofing industry. We also have Sika SARNAFIL and Sika Trocal. These are market leaders in single ply. These are manufactured at our headquarters in Sarnen and Germany. And we also now have SIKABIT. SIKABIT was actually launched last year, which is our bituminous range. And we also have part of the SIKABIT range, which is now our Pro Melt range, which is our hot melt covering. So we've actually now are covering off all different elements of flat roofing as such. So we should have a solution for every type of flat roof we look at. SIKABIT is basically our, like I said, our bituminous brand. It's manufactured in our plant in Italy and is one of the largest manufacturing plants of a bituminous membrane in Europe. So to give you a bit of overview on Sika SARNAFIL. So Sika SARNAFIL was founded in 1958 in a town called Sarnen in Switzerland. Basically, they are a single ply roofing technology pioneer. So we have, I think we've installed in excess of about 400 million square meters worldwide of single ply membrane. We offer a comprehensive range of guarantees. We obviously get involved with new build and refurbishment projects, and we're founding members of SPRA, which is the Single Ply Roofing Association. With the single ply, obviously, I said we had two different elements of single ply. We have SARNAFIL, and we also have our Trocal brand. So we have two different elements of two different single plies within the Sika range. So there's effectively, you have the SARNAFIL range, which is more for your specification driven projects, and you have your Trocal range, which is generally more distribution. So going into some of the SARNAFIL solutions that we have, as you can see there, we have different types of membranes that we offer within the SARNAFIL range. So we have a PVC membrane, and we also have what's called an FPO membrane. Now, generally over in the UK, we tend to use a lot more PVC membrane. For some reason in Europe, they tend to use a lot more FPO membrane. Now, I think within Europe, the reason is because the PVC membrane over here is a more pliable membrane sheet, whereas the FPO membrane is a lot more rigid. And I think in sort of warmer climates, because obviously we don't get very many warm days here, the FPO generally starts to become more warmer climates. Membrane, we have a BBA certificate, extremely life expectancy of 40 years. We also have a wide colour range of membranes as well. So the general run of membranes that we have would be either a lead grey or a light grey. These are generally the ones that we specify most of within a lot of our specifications. We can offer different membranes in terms of a copper patina, a brown, a black, a red. These generally are special order items. But what you'll find is most of the lead or light greys generally cover off the specific requirement. The FPO only has a life expectancy of 25 years, so the PVC is obviously going to give you a lot more life expectancy in the range. Guarantees for these products can range from 10 years up to 25 years. So we can offer a good set of guarantees for each product. As I said, the FPO has generally been used in Europe and is a lot less life expectancy. So as we're finding, a lot more of the PVC membranes are being used in the UK. We also have what we call our SARNAFIL HD membrane, which is a more reinforced membrane. It's actually a 2mm membrane, which comes with a reinforced PIR layer underneath, which gives it more impact resistancy. So we can offer membranes from 1.2mm, 1.5mm, 1.8mm and 2mm. So there's a full range of coverings there. And that's the SARNAFIL HD system. So the SARNAFIL HD system, again, it's got a 40-year life expectancy. It's superior in terms of its puncture resistancy. It's got increased longevity in terms of on the roof. Very similar to install. And it's, you know, very, very fire retardant given today's market. We have different types of systems as well. So in terms of your systems, how you would install a membrane, basically what you have is you have three systems. One is the first one we use is an adhered system. So this means that the whole system is actually adhered down to the roof. So that will be from the vapor control layer, the insulation and the membrane. So we apply different glues that will secure this down to the roof system. We also have mechanically fixed systems. So these would again be mechanically fixed through fasteners into the roof substrate itself. And then we have what we call our ballasted system. So a ballasted system would be with something with a weighted system on top. So be that a green roof, be that a stone ballast, be that pavers. So that is effectively on that system. It's all weighted down by the system that is laid on top. So Sika Liquid Plastics is obviously another brand within our range. So Sika Liquid Plastics was founded in 1963 with their first liquid applied membrane called Decadex. This product was used in a wide variety of situations to provide seamless waterproofing coating. As a business, it developed and it was in the construction industry where the greatest benefits of the product were realised, and the Decadex was then adapted as a market leader product with waterproofing externals, walls and roofs. Sika Liquid Plastics are one of the founder members of the Liquid Roofing and Waterproofing Association and are dedicated to driving the best practice within the industry, backed with Sika's Global Technology Centre for Liquid Applied Members, obviously in Preston. As I said, they're a market leader. They've installed over 30 million square meters in the UK. One of the products that they actually launched recently was Decethane. Now, Decethane is one of their cold applied systems. It can actually be effectively applied to most roof systems. Now, generally, these are used in a refurb situation, so which obviously Matt is generally getting more involved in. But they have come a long way since their initial conception, and now there are a different wide range of vertical technologies that are incorporated into the market to suit different needs. So whether it be refurbishment of an existing building, waterproofing of walkways, or repair and protection of metal roofs, we have a range to meet sort of every application there. As I said, liquid applied membranes are cold applied. They're seamless. They also are obviously rain resistant. They have a higher elasticity rate, and some of the benefits of them is the Decethane Ultra and the Sika Elastic STP are very low odor products as well. So when you're using them on the system, the smell and the fumes are very, very low in terms of the environment and the surrounding areas. So as you can see there's some systems that we've installed. So on your flat roofing systems, you've got your balcony system, so we can do walkways and balconies with the Decethane, and we've also got metal roof systems that we can cover with the liquid plastics as well. So a new introduction to our business this year and last year was the introduction of a company called Index, who were established in 1978. They specialise in bituminous membranes. Their expertise in this technology provides Sika with an advanced bituminous waterproofing offer, which we didn't have before, which is the bituminous felt and the cold melt systems. These are basically made offering a hybrid cap sheet utilising the benefits of both APAO and SBS technologies on the system itself. So SIKABIT really does complement the liquid applied membranes and the single ply membranes in our portfolio, because it gives us now a full suite of offerings to make sure that we're obviously specifying the correct system for the correct roof area. So be that single ply, be that bituminous or liquid. As you can see, there's some of the projects that we've already completed in our bituminous ranges. So what we have is we have the SIKABIT products. We have a reinforced bituminous membrane, where, as I said, it's got the APO technology, which is installed actually into the membrane itself of the bituminous membrane. It means that on a hot day, what you would find on a normal membrane system is you would walk on a hot felt roof and it would leave footprints actually in the bituminous felt itself. This system eliminates that. It means that the system keeps into one, and when you're walking on the roof, and it doesn't leave any marks. So aesthetically looking, it is very good. In terms of our hot melt system, we have a 2-layer hot melt system, which is monolithic, which is a non-tracking membrane again, and it's UK manufactured. So it's a system which is predominantly used in new build for inverted or green roof systems. And it's very durable. We tend to find that this is actually used on a lot of concrete roofs these days. It is a very old technology, but it is a technology that tends to work quite well. So we find that this, for especially a large concrete podium decks or concrete roofs, that this system is very good. As you can see, there's different applications for this as well. So with the SIKABIT, it can be what we call a torch-on membrane. So what the installer would do would be to roll the sheets out and torch the bituminous underlayer of it to bond it to the roof. We've also got a safe to torch option as well, which is a self-adhesive roll of bituminous membrane. These are generally used around the perimeters of any roof lights, of any parapets and things like that, to make sure that the product is a safe to torch project. So these will actually have the laps welded on the seams by heat guns, and then the main field sheets will obviously be done with a torch-on gas torch. In regards to the hot melt, this obviously is laid in a layered system. So effectively this will be built up from the substrate, and they would roll on the hot membrane, well, the hot melt system. So it would basically be cooked in a boiler. It would be supplied in blocks. The blocks would be put into the boiler. These would be melted down, and then they would be rolled and poured onto the roof to form a layer of a hot melt system. This would then be built up to produce your hot melt roof. So just to give you an idea of how Sika can help you, this is the sort of processes that we go through when we actually specify a roof system. What we'd have is we'd have early engagement, so where we can come in and offer sort of expert advice, technical guidance and commercial support in all aspects of the project. This can be from early designs through to procurement. By engaging early, it brings us many benefits that we can obviously make sure that we're specifying the correct products and obviously avoid any risk before the project gets to site. We can also offer quality products and different solutions. We are market leaders in terms of striving to always bring new products to market. All Sika products effectively follow what we call a strict quality management process, which will be demonstrated further in presentation. But we obviously make sure that before we bring to any product to market, it goes through all the testing, it goes through any BBA certification to make sure that product is correct for application. Within Sika, we are very risk averse, so we obviously work with a lot of partners to make sure that from early design and concept that we are specifying the correct products for the roof application. We are here to help you manage risk on site and to make sure that the project is obviously technically and commercially viable for you. We will also go through in terms of maximising value, so we'll be working in collaborative approach across the whole life of the product as well. So we'll help you maximise value, for example, reviewing current systems. We'll look at alternative solutions and make sure they're commercially viable for that site. We'll also go through buildability and compatibility, so it's important that all systems are compatible with each other. So we'll make sure that proposed solutions can actually be built on site, and to make sure that it's okay to have something in place with other systems as well, so which generally goes on to a refurb side. We'll also offer you support through the whole project cycle, so we from early design through to procurement, installation and aftercare. There's a little bit of a portfolio in terms of our new build projects. So these are some of the projects that we completed in different systems. So you've got on the top left corner, you have the Sika SARNAFIL system, which is a recent project that we've done, which is a very curvature roof. This obviously shows you the different elements of design that we can get involved with within single ply. That's actually a new sports facility called St George's College. We have a liquid applied system on there as well, which is Chapel Wharf, which is on the top right hand corner. We also have a bituminous SIKABIT one, which is a Salford new build project. And we have a multi-technology project, which is the Dunes, which is a property down on the in Cornwall. It is the benefit of obviously with all these new technologies for flat roofing systems that we can offer you a system that will suit your requirement now. Where we've brought in the bituminous ranges now, we have look at different roofing areas and hopefully provide a solution for all those different areas that you have. As I said, we also get involved with refurbishment projects, so we can use the flat roofing systems to obviously do a liquid system, a SARNAFIL system with bituminous range. A lot of these projects will be involving a more in-depth specification on a refurb job. We will also include site surveys where we'll actually come out and site survey the roof for you, because generally speaking with a new build it's very straightforward. You have your plans, you work to your standard details, you would have a design. With the roofing in terms of refurb, it's a lot different because you're working with an existing building. It has this, it's got existing details on there that you've got to try and work around to make sure they comply with the guarantee. So what Matt does in his job is he'll do a lot of site surveys. He'll go to site, visit site, take core samples, look at different options for the roof areas, and hopefully provide a good solution for that project. Just to give you an update on this is the areas that we actually cover within Sika. So we had dedicated technical guys across the UK. They're all split into areas, so we can provide you a copy of this map if needed. So you've got all our contact details for different areas or different projects you may be working in. So we can actually provide this at a later date if needed. So how we'll work is we normally have an initial consultation. So what we'll do is we'll sit down and have a design brief and work out a criteria for the works. As I said before, if it's a refurbishment project, we'll obviously look at condition surveys on site. We will then go through specification design. So we'll look at the project and we'll put in a relevant specification that will suit that particular project. So it will be either on any of the technologies, it will cover the roof areas, the specification will cover the complete build up of the roof. So from the substrate up to the membrane itself. It will also cover all your wind calculation uplifts. It will go through guarantees as well for the roof areas, and it will look at interface details and any supporting technical information that would be required for maintenance and guarantees. We also offer BIM. So on the National Library we have I think it's about 25 plus BIM objects on there. So if you're actually designing a new roof and you use BIM, there are objects on there that you can actually use to bring into your drawings to offer a BIM drawing across there. So these are all available. I think they can also be downloaded from our website. So if anyone is also using BIM, we can offer those services as well. As I said, the use of BIM can obviously now be considered for BREEAM as well. So in any new construction, so they're quite relevant in today's market. Going on to fire red, obviously since the Grenfell disaster, it has resulted in a lot of significant changes in the building regulations that affect flat roofing. So currently combustible insulation is banned on certain buildings above 18 metres, and I think it's 11 metres in Scotland. So these include residential, student accommodation, care homes, sheltered accommodation, hospitals and dormitories. It affects the upstands of any roof when linked to any facade on the building. It'll also need to utilise a non-combustible insulation. So this may also apply to balconies or anything attached to an external aforementioned building types. So we can actually offer different types of roofing insulation. So we have obviously a standard PIR insulation, which can be foil-faced or tissue-faced. Or we can also offer a mineral wool option, which is obviously a fire retardant insulation. So this can also be built into the specification. So when we're looking at any sort of specification for a flat roof area, we will always take into consideration the building height and fire regulations as well, to make sure that the system that is being specified again is correct with the right insulation for the right fire regulations. Within Sika, we also have a dedicated sustainability manager. So in the market at the moment, obviously sustainability and recycling and things like that are very, very important. So Sika do get involved in this quite heavily. So we have obviously a trained BREEAM assessor. So with any systems that we specify, we can offer a specific BREEAM pack that is relevant to that flat roof area. So that can be relevant to the project that you're working on. We can obviously supply that through the system that we have in place with Sika. These are some of the things that we can actually offer. So we are part of what we call the Sustainability Development Goals project. So these are what we are aiming as part of the group within Sika. So obviously sustainability solutions, climate performance, community engagement, making sure that obviously we're reducing the amount of energy we use, waste and water, and occupational safety. So these are all part of the Sika ethos for me in regards to sustainability. We also have a sustainability hub on our roof, on our website, sorry, which will go through anything to do with solar roofs on all our systems, BREEAM packs, BREEAM accredited details, life cycle assessments, green roofs, installation, sustainability packs and EPDs. So these can all be supplied when you're looking at a flat roof solution. There's some information on the Brian packs offer. So Sika roof types. So there's different types of Sika roofing that we offer. So we have obviously the 4 different brands there. So generally speaking, you've got different types of roof systems. So these would be cold roofs. You would have your warm roof systems, and obviously, as I said before, you would have your ballasted roofs. So cold roofs have the principal insulation below the structural deck and are only really recommended for small or domestic roof areas. Where possible, it is advised that you provide a cross ventilation above the insulation. Without ventilation in any cold roof, there is also a risk of condensation forming on the underside of the roof deck. The building regulations approved document F deals with the requirement that ventilating roof voids to prevent excessive condensation. They state that for the flat roofs, the requirement is for flat roof spaces to have ventilation opening in 2 opposite sides to promote cross ventilation. So as you can see on the diagram there, the waterproofing membrane is actually applied to the substrate on top of the roof, whereas the insulation is actually lying below the substrate. So the cross ventilation will be coming through that system from one side of the roof to the other. So you would have a vapor control layer below your insulation on top, and then your void to allow cross flow of air. We also have a warm roof. So the warm roof principle is that the thermal insulation is actually placed above the substrate, but below the waterproofing membrane. This is generally one of the most common forms of construction that we look at now. So if we're specifying any sort of roof system, it will generally be a warm roof system that we'll be looking at. Main obviously benefit of this is cross ventilation isn't required, but the vapor barrier has to be placed under the insulation to control condensation. So if you can see on the diagram, we have a metal deck there. Your vapor control layer will obviously be laid over your metal deck. The insulation would then be laid on top of that, and then your membrane would be applied over top. So warm roofs have a few significant advantages over cold roofs. The roof structure is kept warm and protected from extremes of temperature by the insulation. Again, there's no need to ventilate the roof space. The future upgrading of the insulation is quite straightforward because obviously it's on top of the substrate, so that you don't have to remove the main roof substrate to get to the insulation. And there's also a variety of different insulations that you can offer for different properties, such as acoustics, high density insulations, and obviously the fire retardant insulations. We also offer what we call warm ballasted roofs. Now, these are typically used for plant terraces, balconies, sometimes podium decks, but they obviously will cover sort of a more decorative area. So it's generally used where there's regular foot traffic, like pavers going down, which are used to cover the waterproofing membrane, or rounded ballast, which is used to again cover the membrane. You can use these in obviously inverted systems as well, where the system would be the other way around. But this would generally give you the option for having a green roof system, and as I said, the paving ballast, or you can even have timber decking. Most of the systems can be loose laid when you're actually ballasting the system down. The only thing you can't loose lay on is a timber deck, because the timber deck isn't heavy enough, so the system underneath would actually need to be adhered before you lay that system down. As I said before, we obviously can do green roof systems as well. So this system here would be, you would have your substrate, which is your concrete deck on this diagram. Again, the vapor control layer. Your insulation would then be laid over the top of that. You would have your waterproofing membrane, and then you would have your drainage filter and growing medium put on top of that. So again, we can include these in all the specifications that we do in regards to all the products. So we can cover off any of these elements within the systems. We also use different inverted roof systems, as I mentioned before. So we don't see this very often now within the business, generally more on sort of podium decks areas that you would get an inverted roof, but they're also known as an upside down roof because the insulation is basically positioned above the waterproofing membrane. It doesn't require a vapor control layer. And as I said before, inverted roofs are ballasted either with a concrete paving slab on supports as shown in the diagram, or stone ballast, but they are generally used on concrete decks. They do have a few disadvantages though of an inverted system. So a special filter membrane is required to resist saturation of the insulation, which would reduce the thermal performance. An extended upstand height and greater insulation thickness obviously result in a higher roof depth. The waterproofing is also vulnerable from following trades before insulation and ballast is installed. So effectively what you're doing is you're applying the membrane directly to the substrate, which is then exposed if there's other trades on site before the actual final system is put in place. So it can get damaged if it is exposed for long periods of time. It's more costly than other systems as well, and it's also difficult to locate any leaks. Because if you think the membrane is actually buried underneath the whole system, in order to detect a leak, the whole system is going to have to be replaced to actually get to the waterproofing level. If you have a warm ballasted system, then the membrane or liquid or bitumen is actually laid on underneath the pavers. So if there is ever a leak, it's a lot easier to identify where that leak is. Again, most commonly used is a bituminous waterproofing system under these, which would obviously be the waterproofing membrane. We can also offer solar PV benefits as well, which obviously give you free energy direct from the sun, no noise, no harmful emissions or gases. We have modules that we put onto the roof which last around about 20 to 25 years, and they can be recycled at the end of their life, so they have a good sustainability option there. Within this system we have something which is called a Sika solar mount, which is Sika SSN1, which is effectively, if you're using a SARNAFIL system, you can actually bond the solar panel foot directly to this system, the membrane system itself. So you're not actually putting any penetrations through the waterproofing. So effectively, it's like a sleeve system where the sleeve will bond to the roofing membrane, and the feet will actually, of the solar panel, will actually sit into the foot of the panel itself. So very good in terms of actually getting your system on the roof and not putting any penetrations through the system either. So just to go through again, we also offer technical designs as well for any of our roof systems. So we'll select a system for you. We'll give you a detailed build up of that system with obviously a specification. Within that specification, we'll also look at wind uplift because we need to make sure that we're obviously correctly specifying the right fixing system for that roof area. So be that adhered or mechanically fixed. So we will wind calculate every project that we do to make sure that system is correct. We can also look at drainage options as well. So we can provide drainage calculations. So if there's a roof that you're designing, be that new or refurb, we can actually get drainage calcs done to advise on the amount of outlets that you will need on that flat roof system to make sure there's adequate draining off that roof. We can also look at thermal calculations, condensation risk, and tapered schemes as well. The tapered scheme will basically be a PIR system that is laid on the roof to create a fall on a roof that currently doesn't exist. So it's quite a cost-effective way of doing it rather than actually having to put in maybe furrings or screed on the roof. Whereas the system is going to have an insulation there anyway, we can make sure that that's tapered to create the falls on the roof. We also have dedicated technical support throughout our business, and we can obviously offer detailing advice through our standard details. So any of our standard details are obviously available on the website, or we can, myself and Matt can supply these to you if required. These will obviously go through the correct applications in terms of fixings, obviously any penetrations, any drainage elements, any upstand heights. These will actually advise you the correct fixing methods for any sort of detailing area. So they will it will make sure that you're applying, it will apply to the guarantee when it's in place. These can also show you thermal images as well to make sure there's no cold bridging on the system as well. So obviously if you're worried about condensation or cold points, these will actually tell you where these cold points and the cold bridging could occur. So within the Sika partnership, we have different areas that we get involved in. We obviously supply mostly the membranes or the liquids or the bituminous systems. We have partners within our ranges that actually supply other products to us. So that be solar, be that roof lights, insulation, fixings and fall protection systems. These are quite good because what these do is when the guarantee is covered, so if you've got a full system with Sika, so be that your vapor control area, your insulation, and then your membrane or your liquid or your bituminous system, if any of these other partner products are used, they're actually branded as a Sika brand. So they will be coming from obviously a leading manufacturer, but they will be covered under the Sika warranty as well. So it'll be a single point warranty for all that roofing system. Just to give you a bit of information on installation support. So we have quite a good slide here which shows you all our 4 roofing brands. So that'd be Liquid, SARNAFIL, Trocal and SIKABIT. As I said before, we're split into different teams for refurbishment and new build. We also have a dedicated field technician team as well, which will go to site and carry out site visits. So if you're installing a single ply roof, we have our field technicians that can visit site at the start, at the middle, at the end of any project, and obviously advise on any detailing, application, fixing methods. They will also be there to make sure that if you're obviously specifying a single ply roof or a liquid roof, that the specification is adhered to as well by the installing contractor or main contractor. As I said, they will attend site and they will also, on every Sika roof, they will do a final inspection on that roof to make sure that that roof is, as I said, done to specification and done to warranty and guarantee purposes. All our roofing contractors are trained. So as I said, we've got training academies both at Preston and Welling, which will carry out different product trainings for them. We only actually sell or supply any of our products to approved contractors. So again, when we do a specification, the at the back will be listed a range of different approved contractors that you can actually go out to who can install the roof for you.
Yeah. He should have gone back to Marla. So she understood that.
As I said before, we carry out site inspections. So record all the site inspections.
I think there's the panic of when a client says, oh,
Stuart, you're muted.
Yeah, so I think we muted all there because we've got getting a lot of interference. So you have to unmute yourself, Stuart, and back yourself, 8 seconds, I would say.
Right, let me just go back. Okay, so as I said before, this is our technicians map. So this, again, like the field technicians map, this will go through where all our field technicians are located, so they can come and obviously do the surveys on the roof and obviously advise on correct application and install methods. Good to move on now.
I'm not sure we're seeing the slides. I'm not getting the slides up at the moment, Stuart. I don't know whether you need to reshare screen.
I think they might have gone to bottom right, Trevor, of your screen, is it there?
Have I? There we are. That's it. Good.
Yeah. Cool. So this is, as I said, this is like our refurbishment slide. This is our field technician slide. So we obviously have field technicians covering the whole of the UK as well. As I said, most of the field technicians have around about 20 years experience, so they can come out and look and survey of any roof that you're maybe working on or looking to refurbish, or even to come and advise on detailing and application methods. So we can obviously supply a list of those contacts for you as well. In terms of guarantees, we have quite a comprehensive range of guarantees. They cover whole system compatibility. So as I said, site inspections are obviously massively important for these to make sure that the guarantee is obviously applied to. We offer different guarantees for different roofing brands as well. So effectively, for a SARNAFIL guarantee, it will be different from a liquid guarantee. So they all are dependent on the actual specific project that you're using. They can have a duration up to 40 years depending on the system and subject to criteria, and obviously they would have a care and maintenance program as well. So we would, on some particular roofs, we maybe ask for an inspection twice yearly, depending on what application it is, depending on what guarantee that has been applied to that project. So just to give you a few case studies that we've done, just so you can see the sort of projects that we get involved with of any type of flat roof. This is a Fitzwilliam College. It's a roof refurbishment project, which we use SARNAFIL and liquid plastics on it. And as you can see, there's quite a different sort of dome design on there. So as you can see, a flat roofing system doesn't necessarily have to always be flat. It can actually be on a vertical. So we have a self-adhered membrane that we can use on a vertical. Obviously liquid can be applied on the vertical as well, so it'll give you a lot of options in terms of the projects you're working on. We also have the dunes here, which again was single ply membrane and Sika liquid plastics to the balconies. So this was a multi-project design. So we're finding that at the moment what we're having is, because we've got all the new technologies as well as the existing, that we can offer different technologies for different roof areas. This is Ewart Grove in London. Again, it's like a barrel roll roof. I don't know if you can see on there, but what we also offer is decal profiles on flat roofs as well to make it look like a standing seam roof. These effectively are just welded onto the roof itself. So similar to the solar panel mounts, these just effectively weld onto the roof and create that standing seam look. We find these are very good for replacement lead roofs where maybe the lead has been stolen off the roof. Insurance companies won't pay out to actually replace the roof like for like, so this gives a good alternative for that system, and it makes it look like a lead replacement roof is there already. And of course, once someone gets up the steel with it, they're going to struggle to get that one off. So we can offer different solutions for a lot of different projects. This is an active leisure centre in Perth in Scotland. As you can see, it's like a dome shape, so we can obviously do different types of shapes. We've got the Flower Bowl in Preston, which has obviously had a large green roof installed. We do work with our partners on different green roof systems, so if there is a system that you're looking at which involves a green roof, then we can offer advice on the specific type of a greenish system that you would need. And as you can see on there, we've done Castlemead in Southwark in London, which again is it's a social housing bituminous refurbishment project. So again, we can get involved with any type of system or any type of project that is required for a flat roof system. As I said before, a lot of the systems, the liquid system, the bituminous system, the membrane system, we can go into a lot more technical detail if required in terms of the ins and outs of the standard details, the thermal conductivity, any type of application method you need to know about in terms of the project that you're working on. What is the correct application? How can we get and do this to comply with the guarantee and things like that? So we're always welcome to obviously go through any of those with you to make sure that you're specifying or working on the correct system for that roof. Thank you for your attention today. I hope you found it useful. As I said, we'll go through some of the questions and answers that have come through while I've been presenting.
Yeah, feel free to chip in any questions while we conclude. Thanks very much, Stuart. Really useful. Thanks for coming and presenting that to us. Questions so far, there's not been a lot, and the one that we did get was a little bit off topic, but nevertheless a good question from a colleague about whether Sika produce a radon barrier material. So not roof related, but maybe you or Matt are aware of whether you do.
Yeah, I'll take that one, Trevor. Thank you. Yeah, no, thanks, Colin, for the question. Within the roofing systems, it doesn't provide an effective barrier for radon. However, within the target market concrete and waterproofing, there is a number of radon barrier membranes that can be suitable for that. So if you've got a particular project, or detail, if you want to kind of pop it on an email or something like that, and then we can forward it over to the correct person within the concrete and waterproofing team.
There you go, Colin, that was. So if you need to dig a bit deeper on that, get in touch with Matt, and I'm sure he'll help you out. So we've got anything else? Nothing else coming in. I was going to ask, and I know Sika don't target the sort of smaller domestic market as much as the commercial market, although of course we see products on the shelves in the big DIY stores. I've started to notice that builders are sort of trying to de-skill flat roofing, and they're buying possibly online big pots of rubber liquid waterproofing, and thinking, well, now I don't have to employ the clever bloke to do all the torch on and all that. Got any thoughts on that? Are we going to get a product that really is convenient in that way?
So what we're doing is, obviously, I'll go with this one. It's obviously SARNAFIL, as I said before, is generally a specification-led system. So anything we go through specification will always offer a SARNAFIL system. We do have what our Trocal membrane is our other offering, which is generally a distribution product. So that would be for the likes of your man with a van who's doing smaller domestic sort of properties that can obviously go to the Trocal system. Now the same principles apply with that they do to SARNAFIL in terms of, you know, the inspections and making sure that the roof is installed correctly. As founder members of SPRA, in terms of single ply, we have to be responsible for every single ply that is laid on any of our roofs. So we have to have accountability. And effectively, even within SARNAFIL, we're effectively taking design responsibility of that roof to make sure that that system is correct. So it's the same with that through Trocal as well. So we try and cover off all our bases. Now, you're never going to sort of stop the man with a van going into a distribution centre and buying tubs of EPDM or rolls of EPDM or anything sort of liquid-wise that they're going to put on the roof. But I think with the backup that we've got within Sika and the roofing systems that we do, you can be confident you're getting a good system through that. Now, we do get involved with domestic properties, so we're not just about the big, large project. I mean, to probably say our bread and butter projects are probably between 100 and 300 square meters is generally what we get involved with a lot, you know, on a day-to-day basis. So what we have is we have like a roof assured contractor arm, which generally only specifically looks after domestic properties. So again, they don't obviously use a lot as much as say the bigger contractors do on the larger project, but they follow the same ethos in terms of specification, design, and quality checks through that domestic arm, as well as the main specification arm as well.
Okay, thanks. Another late question coming from Richard here, and he says his apologies. He had to, or he got cut out and had to come back in. He may have missed it, but he says, do Sika have a roofing waterproofing system that may be used on resi balconies above 18 metres, ref latest ADB? Well, just to give the building control perspective on that, of course, we're talking to the changes to Regulation 7, where we look for non-combustibility in facades of buildings. Now, in many cases, that wouldn't cover roofs, being a horizontal surface, although in some cases it does, where you've got stepped roofs with walls. But of course, as you said, Stuart, there is the upstand issue where the roof hits the facade of the building. So, and I think you did mention something about that.
Yeah. So what we would always, I mean, we would always recommend, if the building is over 18 metres in height, that you look at a non-combustible insulation. So we would obviously recommend what we call a mineral wool product, which is a fire retardant insulation that is used on any of those buildings above 18 metres. Again, this is part of our range, and we can obviously specify it within the specification that it has to be a mineral wool because of regulations in terms of the building being over 18 metres. So it's generally all our fire tests are done on system rather than individual elements. So we can generally supply fire testing certificates or tests for each system that we're putting on that roof. So if there is a requirement for a fire test, we can normally supply that depending on the build-up that is used.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, and just perhaps the point there to make is any if it is forming part of the facade, it needs to achieve the A1 or A2 Euro fire rating. So that is a separate rating to the B roof rating, and it's probably a bit more onerous. So building control would look for anything abutting the building in that way to achieve those fire ratings, and we would ask for independent testing to prove it does. So, but a good question there. Thanks, Richard. We've got anything else? Don't think we have, which is good because it's now just about up to the round hour. We've timed it well. So again, thank you to both you gentlemen for joining us. Really good presentation. And that's it. Thank you to the audience, and I hope you'll join us again soon when we get something on the stocks. We're talking to LABC Warranty about another presentation which will cover things like basement waterproofing, and if there's any subjects that you feel need to be covered, a technical subject, maybe something we can do more in lines of a training topic, then let me know. You know, trevor.clements@hertfordshirebc.co.uk. Give me an email, and then if we get a bit of demand, we'll set something up for you, because we want to keep it relevant and interesting. Anyway, so thanks all. I'll say cheerio. Have a great rest of the day and a weekend, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you, Trevor.
Pleasure,
everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks, bye.
Bye now.